Okay, so this is part 2 of our noun clause lecture. This is part 2 of our noun clause lecture, and we were talking, last time we met, we were talking about functions of noun clauses, how they function in a sentence, and as Paola just reminded us, we already looked at how noun clauses function as the subject of a sentence, as the object, meaning the object of the verb and object of the preposition, exactly. And today, briefly, we're going to talk about something called the complement, which sounds like a new grammar word, but that you have to learn, but actually it's easy. Okay, so we did this. We did all this. Okay, here we go. What is a complement? We have two kinds of complements. Okay, one is called the subject complement, and one is called an adjective complement. So let me see if I can explain that to you. Okay? Over here. Subject complement. I started to mention this yesterday in yesterday's class. Okay. When we have the verb be, there is no object. It's not subject, verb, object. If you have the verb be is not followed by an object. Okay, right? If I say almost anything, you tell me anything that you can say with be that involves an object. If I say, this guy is a good student. This guy, Ricky, is a good student. What's the subject of that sentence? If I say Ricky is a good student, what's the subject? Ricky. What's the verb? Is. What is a good student? It's called the complement. Okay? And what it means is I can switch the order. I can say a good student is Ricky. An example of a good student is Ricky. Ricky, good student. Good student, Ricky. I'm trying to help you. Okay. So when we have the verb be, there is no object in the sentence. Rather, we have something called the subject complement. That's like X equals Y. Y equals X. Here's my example, which is difficult to see, similar to my Ricky example. Chloe is my friend. My friend is Chloe. There's no object. There's no object. Chloe and my friend are the same person, right? We can switch the order of the sentence with no change in meaning. Chloe is the subject. In sentence 1, Chloe is my friend. Chloe is the subject. And my friend is the subject complement. In sentence 2, my friend is Chloe. My friend is the subject and Chloe is the complement. Okay, is that easy? Is that okay? Is that an easy concept to understand?
Yes.
Okay, because normally with most verbs it's subject, verb, object. Here this is subject, verb, subject. But we call it the subject complement. Okay, now let's use our noun clauses. This car is what I want. Okay, you're at the car dealership. You're buying a new car. You tell the guy or the woman, this car is what I want. What I want, do you see? It's like an equation with an equal sign. This car and what I want, my noun clause, are the same thing. We can switch the order of the sentence with no change in meaning. In sentence 1, this car is what I want. This car is the subject. What I want is the subject complement, not the object, because there is no object. In sentence 2, what I want is the subject, and this car is the complement. Okay, so noun clauses can function as the subject, they can function as the object, the object of the preposition and the object of the verb. And now I'm telling you, they can also function as the subject complement. When you hear that word, you'll hear it a little bit more later in the course. It has to do with subject complement, has to do with the verb be. Because be is like an equation. She is my friend. It's like saying subject equals subject complement. It's like saying X equals Y. And you know in math, if I can say X equals Y, I can also say Y equals X. That's one of the properties of equations. Any questions on this idea, which might be new for you? Yeah?
Yeah, I want to know if we just use it with be verb, or we can use it with other verbs.
I think only be. It can be any form of be. It could be any form of be, but I don't think we can use it with any other verb. I'm thinking have. This car has what I want. What I want has this car. I think be is our only verb that is equal. Okay, good question. Any other questions? Okay, so it's called the this is called the subject complement. And then there's something else, and this one's even easier. This idea is even easier, called the adjective complement. Okay, what does that mean? Very simple, very simple. All it means is that the noun clause follows certain adjectives. All it means, again, is that the noun clause follows certain adjectives. So, my adjectives are in yellow, my noun clauses are in blue. So, I'm not sure what he said. I'm not sure what he said. I can also say I'm not sure about what he said, but I don't have to say about. If I say about, then it's preposition. If I don't say about, it's adjective complement. I'm not going to ask you which one is it, because you are not going to be grammar teachers, right? I'm not training you to be grammar teachers. I'm trying to teach you how to use the language. But you need to know that this is okay. You can do this, that this is correct. Okay, are you certain that he's coming? Where's Walid? Yesterday Khalid, today Walid. Where is Walid? I'm not certain that he's coming. Certain is my adjective, followed by a noun clause. Was it clear what I meant? Was it clear what I said? Okay, that's a correct sentence. Noun clause follows the adjective. It functions as adjective complement. It just means it goes together. That's what it means. If something complements each other, they go together. Right? That's what this means. Subject goes with subject complement. Here. Noun clauses go with adjective. That means they function as an adjective complement. Complement means that two things go together. They complement each other. Okay? You remember that word with math. Okay, you remember that word in math, right? If I have a number line, if I have two angles, this angle and this angle, they're called complementary angles. For the French speakers, the Spanish speakers, okay? They complement each other. They go together. That's the same thing. This is like my adjective, and this is like my noun clause, okay? They go together. If you understand what I'm doing here. Okay? They complement each other. They go together. Okay. Abdullah is excited that Saad is coming to visit. It's obvious that I haven't been understood by the students. It's not definite whether they understood the lesson or not. I wish we could get better light on this. Can we make this a little darker? Because then you'll see it better. Yeah, okay, just for this part, okay? That's better, right?
Yes.
Okay? Are you sure
Yeah.
that this is better? That's now close, okay? It's amazing how much you can learn if you try. My mother was worried that my brother hadn't arrived. Luigi, that was my cat, that is my cat. Luigi was amazed how big her kittens were getting. Holly was shocked that every student completed the blog work. Yeah. But this is passive, right? I'm shocked. You could say this another way. You could say this another way. Give me another way to say this. Holly was shocked. Because every student completed the blog work. We could say because, and I can also say I was shocked that. I'm going to tell you I can say I was shocked by the fact that. Okay, I'll get to that one next. So, okay, and I'm going to get to this next, but you notice that I put parentheses around that. Do you see that? Do you see my parentheses? Because that can be removed from the sentence with no change in meaning. And I'm going to explain that soon. But if you go back and review this PowerPoint, you'll understand what I'm doing here, okay? Any questions on this slide? I will explain that more later, okay? Coming. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. I'm not certain whether or not you can see your notes. I'm not sure whether you can see your notes or not. Can you? Can you take notes in the dark?
Yes.
I wonder who that is.
Wallet.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Okay, may I wonder if I can continue or not.
I don't know.
I'm asking your permission. Can I go on to the next slide?
Almost.
Almost, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we have now just covered the five functions of noun clauses. Subject, object of the verb, object of the preposition, adjective complement, and subject complement. Okay. I wonder what the students are thinking now. I wonder what some of you are thinking. Ready? Can I go on?
Yes.
Paula, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now let's talk about that clauses. Okay, because we have spoken about question word clauses. I should put information questions. I'm going to fix that. There should be information questions. That's the first way we make a noun clause. The second way we make a noun clause, whether or if. That's for yes, no. Okay, that would be a yes, no question. Okay, I asked, is Walid going to come to class? I wanted to know, that's a yes, no, yes or no. I wanted to know if he is going to come to class, or was. Okay, the last way we make noun clauses, and these are very, 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 very common, is with that, okay? Noun clauses beginning with that, they're going to look like that, plus the subject, plus the verb. Okay. When that introduces an object noun clause or an adjective complement clause, it can be omitted. We can remove it with no change in meaning. Watch. Oh. In this case, that beginning the object clause. In this case, that is purely a function word with no actual meaning. here are some examples. I think the examples make the big language clearer. Okay. I'm happy that you're here. Okay, that you're here, that you are here. That's my noun clause, right? I don't really want to test you on this, but just tell me, what's the function here? How is it functioning in this sentence?
It's like a
Go ahead, yeah, that's right, yeah. What is it?
Adjective complement.
Adjective complement. Here's the adjective, here's the complement. Okay?
Yes.
Just look what comes before it. If a verb comes before it, it's the object of the verb. If a preposition comes before it, it's the object of the preposition. If it's at the beginning of the sentence, it's the subject. You're going to be experts on this.
Yeah, and there is to be.
And if you see be,
Yeah.
no, don't forget be.
Ah,
B
okay.
is the subject.
This is not be.
Ah, okay. Oh, it's only adjective.
Okay? This is the adjective. It's following an adjective.
Okay.
Be would be, there can't be anything here.
Ah,
Okay? Be is I am, it's not I am happy because that's an adjective. Be is I am who I am.
okay.
Who I am is I. Okay, okay. So yeah, that's some adjective complement. You see the adjective, it's following it, that's it. Okay, so now look, what I'm saying here, when that introduces an object noun clause or an adjective complement clause, that's this, then we can remove it. Huh? Yeah, I'm happy you're here. That's it, I'm happy you're here. Same, same. Because what I'm saying here is now this word is just a function word. Okay? It doesn't have any real meaning, it's just a function word here. Okay. You told me that you would be here on time. You told me that you would be here on time. Okay, and now I want to ask you, who can tell me, what is the function here? How is this, you see the noun clause?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the function? You
Okay.
told me.
The verb
Object.
Object.
Object now.
Object of the verb. Object of the verb. I want to say that it's possible, there's a direct object and an indirect object. So you told who? Me. What did you tell me? Okay, so this functions as the object noun clause. It's the object. Okay, and because of that, we can remove it and no change in meaning. Everybody with me? You told me you would be here on time. What happened? Both sentences have the same meaning. In spoken English, in speaking, that is nearly almost removed. Because it's an extra word and I want to say my sentence faster. So in spoken English, we almost always remove that. Let me tell you why this is tricky though. Let me tell you why this is tricky. You told me you would be here on time. It looks like two sentences. You told me, period. You would be here on time, period. Right? Because here I go. Subject, verb, subject, verb. That doesn't look like an English sentence. It doesn't look right. It is right because of this rule. If you get confused and you're like, does this make sense? Then put that back in. Put that back in your mind or in the sentence. And then ask yourself, does it make sense? Oh yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, in written English, that may be removed. You can do it, you can remove it, but it shouldn't be, it should be kept in the sentence if the meaning without it isn't clear. If the meaning this is a function word. If I remove it, and I usually do when I'm speaking because it's much faster to remove that word, because it's not a content word, it's just a function word. It doesn't add anything to my what I want to say. But in writing, this is a correct sentence in writing. It's perfectly correct. But I can imagine a clause that could be a little bit longer or a little bit more confusing, and if it's not clear, keep that in there. If that helps make the sentence clear, keep it in. You don't have to remove it. Okay. So that introducing an object clause. And let me tell you, we're going to get to, I probably will get to it on Monday. Reported speech. We're using a that clause all the time. He told me that. She said that. We're saying this all the time. So this is very, very common language that you're going to use all the time. He told me that. Class began at 8. That's why I'm late. Because he told me that class began at 8. I can also say he told me class began at 8. It's perfectly okay. Okay, because when that introduces an object noun clause or an adjective complement clause, it's not necessary. Okay? Not necessary. Okay, but when that introduces a subject noun clause, when it comes at the beginning of the sentence, it cannot be omitted. Okay? If it's at the beginning of the sentence, you must leave it there. If it comes in the middle of the sentence, basically, it can be removed. At the beginning of the sentence, you may not remove it. I'll show you what happens if you do. When that, okay, because without it, the sentence won't make sense. Let me show you. Okay, that you're here makes me happy. Khalid, we missed you yesterday. You were missed. I hope you were having a very, I hope that you were having a good time without us. I hope that, or just I hope. Okay, so that you're here today makes me happy. Do you see that? Do you see that? This is it. This is it. It makes me happy. What makes me happy? That he's here. Okay, what makes me happy? That he's here. I cannot remove that. If I do, I have you're here makes me happy. Right? Impossible. You're here makes me happy. That you guys are learning a lot this term impresses me. That you guys are learning so much impresses me. It, this is it. Remember, every noun clause I can substitute with it. It impresses me. What impresses me? That you are learning so much. I may not remove that. If I do, look, you're learning a lot, this term impresses me. I have to distinguish here. I have to distinguish. This is you are learning. This is a present progressive. This is not the gerund. This is not the gerund. Actually, I can say it with a gerund, but then it's not you are. I can say your, meaning belonging to you. Your learning impresses me, but that's the gerund lesson. But I may not say, you are learning a lot, this term impresses me. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
I'd like to know whether you are with me or not.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. But look at this. We sometimes use the fact that in place of that in subject noun clauses. And this is a good one. The fact that you're here makes me happy. Okay. Again, it makes me happy. What makes me happy? The fact that you're here. The fact that you're learning a lot this term impresses me. That impresses me. It impresses me. What?
The fact that you
Okay. Here's a note. When we begin subject, noun clauses beginning with that, they're formal. That's formal. Formal way of writing something or speaking. I can do it, but it's formal. Okay, any questions on this? The fact that you're not asking questions means that it means that you understand. Look, that's to that clauses. Do you see that? That's that, the fact that means that you understand. That's noun clause. You asked a good question here. When you said be, is be the only one? I wonder if it works for means. Means. I can say in Spanish. Azul means blue. Blue means azul. They're also equal. So maybe, I will think about it. Maybe it works for that word also. Because that's like is. Okay, let's move on. Okay, just a little bit more, a drop more to this lecture, not too much more. Embedded questions. Okay, we have been practicing this on the blog. You know, I told you to ask me a question, and I said you can phrase it in a few different ways. I'm checking the grammar. I don't have to answer the question, I have to check the grammar. I want to know if you can ask the question correctly. Whether I answer the question or not is Thank you. Okay, that's not what I was going to say, but that is a good completion to my question. Whether I answer the question or not, it. Whether or I answer the question or not, it isn't the point. The point isn't, see, subject complement. The point isn't whether I answer the question or not. Whether I answer the question or not isn't the point. Okay, isn't. I can use the negative also. Okay, noun clause. What I want to see is whether you can answer the question or not. Whether you can answer the question or not is, you see that? Noun clause, be noun clause. Okay, so now I asked you to state the question in different ways. And then you'll see, I responded to everybody so far because it's an easy one to respond to, it's very short. It's not a long paragraph that I have to take time. And most of you I said, what did I respond to many of you? A statement or question? Is this a question or is it a statement? I want to know your punctuation. Do you recognize, am I asking a question or am I making a statement? So that's why I did that exercise. I want you to recognize some of them are questions, some of them are statements. Now, if we take a noun clause and we put it inside a question, it's called an embedded question. Embed, like think about in bed, you're in bed together. Okay? So like this noun clause is in bed together with the question. Okay? So it's called an embedded question. Okay. So a noun clause which comes from a question, well, they come from questions. Question words and whether or if. It's called an embedded questions. Embedded questions begin with question words for information questions, whether or if for yes/no questions. I mean, we have been practicing this. Embedded questions are more polite than direct questions. They're more polite. An embedded question, oh, okay, wait, no, I'm changing my mind. An embedded question can occur within a question or a statement, okay. When we turn the noun clause for question words and for whether and if, or if, that becomes, in some grammar books, they call it the embedded question. And we put it inside this other question. But it can go inside the question or the statement, either way. It makes it more polite. Here, example, direct question, what time is it? Polite, could you tell me what time it is? Direct question, how far is it to the bus stop? More polite, do you know how far it is to the bus stop? It's just a more polite way to ask a question. You have been practicing with this. Is Ollie coming to the party tonight? This is not our Ollie. This is another Ollie from another bus. Do you have any idea whether Ollie is coming to the party or not? Okay, it's just a way to make it more polite. And I have one more. We have been practicing with this, so this is not new. This is review. One more thing. Okay, last thing. And I think in our book, this is section, what chapter? We're in chapter 12, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 12.5. 12.5, 12.4. Reducing noun clauses to infinitive phrases. Okay. This is what you need to know. With the modals can, could, and should inside the noun clause, if we have can, could, and should inside the noun clause, it's possible to reduce the noun clause to an infinitive phrase, okay, if and only if the subject of the sentence is the same as the subject inside the noun clause. Okay, that's a lot of words. Let me give you the examples. I don't know what I should do about the problem. What's the subject of the sentence? I. What's the subject of the noun clause? I. Okay. If the subject is the same, and we have the verb should, could, can, inside my noun clause, we can reduce it. And we should reduce it. Because reduction is faster, better. So, this is easy. I'm afraid, I hope I am not making it more complicated than it is. Look at my examples. I don't know what I should do about the problem. We can shorten that. We can reduce that noun clause to an infinitive. Here's my infinitive. Correct? I don't know what to do about the problem. That's a reduced noun clause. I have this problem. I don't know what to do about it. Okay, let's take a look. Could you tell me where I could get some cash? This is not that the subject is the same, but the me is the same. You know, I want to know. Could you tell me where I could get cash? Really, could you tell me where anybody can get cash? Could you tell me where the cash machine is? Right. Could you tell me where to get some cash? You see that? Where, subject, could. Reduces to an infinitive phrase. She didn't know, she was in trouble. The girl was in trouble. She didn't know where she should go or what she should do. We can reduce that. She didn't know where to go or what to do. Isn't that better? Look how it's...
Yeah, it's there.
I mean, when we're talking, well, in speaking, you know, you have a lot to say. So you don't want to keep it all on function words. We want content words. So if we can say something in fewer words, it's called being economical with the language, economy. And certainly in writing. And certainly in writing. But you know what, I have to say, in speaking to, I want you to get to the point, right? I'm busy, get to the point.
Yeah.
But in writing, good writing is economical. What does that mean? If you have I want message words, I want content, but I don't want function words. Function words don't add anything to your message. Okay, so there's a principle of economy. Has anyone had Mr. Dang, has anyone had Tong as a teacher yet? You might get him in level 6, okay? So he calls it the principle of laziness, but I call it the principle of economy, being economical with the language. Don't waste your words. So, this is better than this. Why? Because I'm allowed to do it. I can do it. So if I can reduce, if I can remove function words, remove them. I have worked as an editor. You remove function words if they are not necessary, because you want your writing to be filled with content words. Only function words if they're necessary. They're necessary. I mean, usually they're necessary. But if they're not, we remove them, or we reduce them. Okay. Do you know how I can get an A in this class? Meaning I, not I, anybody. Okay, this is the general you. This is not you. General you. Do you know? Does anybody know? Do you know how to get an A in this class? Does Andrea, watch this one. Does Adriana understand what Luke should do? Now, can I reduce this one? Try to reduce this. Let's reduce this one. Does Adriana understand what Luke should do? Reduce it. Does Adriana understand what to do?
What to do.
Why is that not okay?
What Luke to do.
Right? So we can't reduce that one. This is not the subject. We're referring to two different people. This is not you. This is you in general. Okay? These are two different subjects. Here, we can't do it. It won't make sense. Okay? You will see that it's impossible. That's because the subject of the sentence Adriana is different than the subject of the noun clause Luke. Okay? And I want to be, I think I need to correct this slide because it's not exactly correct. Because here, this is the subject. What I'm trying to say is, this is a general you, and this is a general me. Could you tell me where to get cash around here? You mean, could anybody can get cash around here? Okay, not really me specific. I'm going to edit the slide. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I'd like to know whether or not you have questions. I'd like to know whether you have some questions or not. I'm interested in finding out whether the students have any questions. I'm interested in knowing if the students have questions or not. Any questions? Okay, I will assume that the lesson was perfectly clear. If you don't have questions. If you don't have questions, I will assume that the lesson was perfectly clear. Okay, thank you.